So, Lincoln's on the run. Simmons is trying to get used to being back on Earth, and Hunter and May are fighting to get to Ward. It's a story development episode this week on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., number 3 of Season 3, A Wanted Inhuman. Right, so you can basically break this week's episode down into 3 major parts. There is the hunt for Lincoln, there is Hunter and May's pursuit of Ward, and then of course there is Fitz and Simmons and her readjustment back to Earth. We're going to start off here with Lincoln. His sequence had some very nice special effects. I think they carried really well onto television, but I think there were certain forced, contrived circumstances with him this week. Nice scene in the opening. I love the whole shower of sparks from the power lines. I didn't really feel personally that would stop a platoon of soldiers. Sparks are not necessarily intrinsically dangerous. They could, I guess, set some fires. They could be a little painful, but I think a quick run through if they're in their major pursuit of an Inhuman, kind of tough that would stop them. But okay. And his when they found him, when they used the tracker inside of his arm to locate his position, and Daisy called him up on the phone, sure, I understand he wants to get rid of the phone, doesn't want them to track him, but why does he have to take it apart, destroy the SIM card, step on the phone, when he immediately turns and just zaps the tracker that's inside him? He could have done that with the phone. Zap, zap, would have been done. Again, maybe they don't want to spend too much on effects, and he didn't seem to really look around to make sure nobody was watching him at the time. But again, just why would this character do this particular thing? And then there's John, his buddy who calls up and picks him up. Now, my feeling is that John is his sponsor from Alcoholics Anonymous. Just his first questions, have you had a drink? That he is coming out, that he has saved Lincoln's life, has been there for him a number of times. It sounds very much like a sponsor's role, which was fine, and certainly his trust of Lincoln when he says, I don't need to tell anything, you don't need to tell me that you're okay, I know who you are. That's all awesome. What was hard to believe was the quick turnaround from somebody who is very supportive, that apparently has known Lincoln for a long time, is a very good judge of his character, to see a news report and immediately turn him in and stand off and I don't know who you are. And I think that was, again, a little forced, a little unnecessary. I think they could have developed the scene a little bigger with maybe him questioning why he did it, not sure with, kind of facing off with Lincoln. I thought I trusted you, but I'm hearing these things, and there just wasn't a lot of that. Maybe it was a time situation, but I felt this was all like moved by a rote. Let's isolate Lincoln, let's make him feel bad, let's kill him for his friend, yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, when the soldiers showed up, they didn't even check John's body to see if he had a pulse. Is he dead? I assume so. Body's laying down there. We're just going to look around for Lincoln here. You check that room. You check that room. We'll just leave the dead body here. It seemed a little unnecessary. And then finally, of course, when Lincoln calls up Daisy, I'm in trouble. Why the big back and forth between them? I mean, I know it's building tension and it's developing character and stuff like that, and that seems to be what it's for, but from a logical sense, why do you call someone for help and then sort of resist going with them? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Though, obviously, trust issues are something that's going to persist with Lincoln for some time afterwards, since he found out that Coulson was willing to give him up. Now, on the other side of that, the relationship between Daisy and Mac, very nice. I mean, they were certainly hitting some points at the season finale of last year, and they've started this year really obviously as a close working relationship. But Mac was very distrustful of aliens, of anything to do with aliens. That's why they put him in charge of the artifact and anything that has to do with alien technology. So there could be some question as, is he really going to be there for Daisy? Is he really going to have his back? Is he really part of the team? Those questions are gone. If you had them, they are gone. He pulled a gun right up to defend Daisy. The minute that he found out that they were willing to give Daisy up, that's not going to happen. He was there for her, and they had a nice little moment playing Halo multiplayer at the end of the episode, giving each other backup. Very nicely done. Now, Coulson had some really nice developments in this episode as well. I love the back and forth between him and Constance, the head of the ATCU. Consummate professionals doing the little back and forth, their witty jibes. Love her constant referrals back to his obviously missing hand. But he is not willing, Coulson is not willing to repeat the mistakes of the past. And I think that was a really nice moment between him and Daisy at the end of the episode. He's already had his head off with Talbot. He was dealing with real S.H.I.E.L.D. That's a lot of energy wasted fighting people that should be on your side. And it distracts and detracts from the real fight, from the real issues that they're going to have to face. Which obviously, this being season 3, is just ramping up bigger and bigger from what they've had to do with. The fact that by 3rd episode, they're kind of settling these things down. Yeah, we're kind of working with the ATCU, made some promises, but S.H.I.E.L.D. knows what they're doing. And more to the point, again, Coulson is not willing to give up his people in order for the fight. If Constance was going to try and take Daisy, Coulson was going to just go full barrels at her and her organization. But why do that? Let's work together. But again, making that offer, willing to be a bit subservient to be sure that his people are protected, because he really does know what's going on, and they are the best prepared to deal with these big issues that are coming right at them. Now, over to Hunter and May. It's really kind of a quick bit. They're obviously just working to get deeper into Hydra, or in this case actually get into the basic levels of Hydra, get that introduction. Of course, he's fighting his friend, who's not really his friend. I mean, the first thing he says is the guy's a psychopath and bit off a guy's nose in the midst of a fight. So, not a whole lot of love coming from this character initially. Obviously, a big shock for Hunter. And then there's May's concern: is he going to lose this fight? Is he going to be able to pull it off? And he does. Obviously, you know, helpful to have a pair of brass knuckles in your pocket. He did ask about rules at the beginning of the fight, so technically it wasn't cheating. But I think that it was good for him to remind May, look, you may be a better fighter, but if you get in a fight, rumors of you is going to head up the ladder, and that's going to let Ward know. So her little fight with the 3 guys, while it's nice, yeah, we get some action sequences out of it. We get Hunter fighting, we get May fighting. These are nice. We love to see it. Nice fight choreography, very fancy moves. But I think that may come back to Hunter, especially because she quipped specifically the line that Hunter had said to her about a tiny Asian woman kicking the crap out of these guys. She does that actual little quote almost right back to them. I won't tell everyone, I'll keep it quiet. Is it going to be? Is this what's going to come around and bite these two on in the butt as they actually get higher up and closer to Ward? I'm suspecting that it probably might. They're in, obviously the last shot, that's Hunter getting into Hydra. They've got at least their foot in the door. How long it's going to take to get to Ward? What is Ward up to? Where is he going with this building of Hydra? What is his goals? Those are things that we're obviously going to be finding out in future episodes. Hopefully not too long. They've been moving the season along at a pretty good pace, and I hope they continue that. And finally, we get to Fitz Simmons. Fitz working very hard to help Simmons acclimate to being back on Earth, and Simmons really dealing with some intense PTSD. They say very quickly on that she's going to be dealing with gravitational differences, atmospheric differences, whole body chemistry differences between being gone on some alien planet for several months and now returning back into Earth. So that disorientation is very natural. However, there's of course still things that she won't speak of, and I think that's specifically referring to whatever was hunting her. And I believe that it probably has something to do with sound. She has a very strong instinctive reaction to vibrations. Now, when Fitz went over to the planet to find her, it was not a pleasant place to be. Very windy, you couldn't see much. The week prior, they had done a little flash of Simmons. The weather seemed a little nicer, but this might be endemic of the planet and its climate conditions as it is. In which case, an underground hunter, an underground pursuer, I think would make a lot more sense and would explain her jumpiness at vibrations and sound. You could feel something coming close to you through the ground, through the vibrations, and that would constantly keep you on the edge that you can't see, that you've got to be feeling for what's going on. So that's my speculation on what was pursuing her and why she was responding so strongly to sounds, particularly, again, vibrations. With the cell phones, the lab equipment, anything that was making a vibratory action seemed to really get at her. So I'm thinking that it probably has something to do with that. But really just nice moments of Fitz taking care of Simmons, very quiet emotional bits, and the whole emotional breakdown that Simmons had in the restaurant towards the end, just very nicely done. They work a lot of subtlety between these two characters, and I think that's the way to go, especially with all the big actions that's happening around, to take this back and have those very quiet, emotional, subtle moments between the two of them, I think is a nice dichotomy in the episode, and really just kind of continues the strongest, amazing work by these two fine actors. But of course, after all of this cathartic release, Simmons is back in the lab trying to find out what's going on with the rocks left over from the portal. Why? Because she has to get back. Why does she have to get back? I don't know, that's a good question. Is it information? Yeah, maybe not, I don't really see so. Are there people there? Now that might be a really good question. Is there someone that she has to go back and help? That seems to be something that would drive a character like Jemma Simmons more than just the knowledge. Again, she said her intellectual curiosity disappeared the moment the fear came in. So I think we'll go into a bit more of that. Is it other Inhumans that are trapped there? Is it something else? I don't really know, but it will be really interesting to see. And again, I think they're going to be moving on to this very quickly. And one other quick little curiosity note back to Coulson. Whatever did happen to Real S.H.I.E.L.D.? I remember at the towards the end of last season, it was a committee that was deciding what S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to do, and Coulson was going to be on the committee or be subservient to the committee. May was on there. Obviously, she took off, so she's not part of it. But I'm assuming the committee just fell apart and everything just went over to Coulson after Edward James almost died in the big fight on the carrier. That would be my guess. There hasn't been really much reference back to that, and Coulson doesn't seem to have to be referring to anyone. So just kind of a curiosity with his mention of the real S.H.I.E.L.D. I was sort of curious what happened to that committee that was running S.H.I.E.L.D. Obviously, they're probably no more. So that is it for the week. Another exciting episode coming up this week. May and Hunter are getting a little closer to Ward. We might see a little bit more of what is happening with him. And then, of course, Lash is back and causing problems. We get to delve into really what his motivations are for his pursuit and what is going on further on with that. And we will be talking about it right here. If you like what I have to say, please press the like button. Feel free to subscribe, of course, and comments. I always appreciate comments. You can leave them in the section below. You can reach me at Darren Jakes on Twitter. And until then, until next week, y'all take it easy. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.